Hello, everyone. Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. We're going to be looking at the third week of September. That is September 14th, 15th to the 21st, Sunday to Saturday. And thank you for those of you who pointed out my mistake on the dates. Once I do it, I can't change it. So, but thanks anyway. Good eye. Good eye. Most of the time, I don't know what day it is, which sounds ridiculous because every day I get out there and talk about the stars. But when you're in astrology, you're always looking back and forward and in the moment, and time seems to, I don't know, slip away sometimes. All right. So I want to welcome the new subscribers. Thank you for joining us. This is a great community of like-minded, star-seeking um, souls, great souls here. And to, of course, my tried and true followers who have been following me for years. Thank you so much for sticking with me through the vicissitudes of YouTube. I occasionally get a comment, I haven't seen you in such a long time. It's good to see you back on. Well, I've never really left. I do my morning astrology every morning. Occasionally I miss, but I think I probably miss like once a year for, maybe I think that's the most I've missed once in a year, which is pretty good. And so if you do enjoy these and you'd like to see me more often, please like the video. I know many of you are already subscribed. Share the video if you can. I guess they're doing something. I don't know. People are talking about um, the um, um, the more that people are in danger of losing their channels. I don't know. And you have to be real careful what you say. Not my strong suit. So hopefully I don't say to offend the YouTube gods, I guess. But we'll just jump right in. And for those of you, I'm doing this on Saturday and the 14th. And for those of you who are seeing this today, I will be on, I'll be at this channel. We'll have Mystic Sisters Live, me and Ona. We're going to talk about the week we just moved through, the week ahead, and just in general things about the energy that we're experiencing at this time. If you, it is interactive. If you want to, drop in and ask questions, it starts at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. We go for about an hour, unless there's a lot to say. And we could go over this week because there's a lot to say. All right, so let's jump into this video. All right, just give me a moment here and we'll get started. Okay, so we're looking at week 3, September 15th to the 21st. And we start right away on on Sunday, which is tomorrow. We have two things happening: an early morning trine between Venus and Jupiter. We can actually feel it today as we sit here. And the trine between the two benefics is a lovely energy. Venus is in Libra, the sign of its rulership, and Jupiter is in Gemini. Both air signs, so we have a grand air trine. I mean, we have a trine with utilizing air signs, and so it is a light energy. It's a mental energy. It's an airiness and a lightness, really, of heart here with this vibration, and we can sort of feel it, even though we're witnessing, there's stuff happening in the low vibration, and then there's the stuff happening in the higher vibration. And while it's important not to ignore the low vibration, it's also important not to focus on it. And so stay with the energy that's here. Now, speaking of the challenge of the lower vibration, we do have Mars square the nodes on Sunday as well. Mars is in Cancer right now, and Mars isn't all that particularly happy being in Cancer. Mars likes things to move forward. And Cancer, actually, the crab is incapable of moving forward. It can only move sideways and backwards. And so you may find yourself, before you start to move forward, you have to either sidle over to the side, or back up a little bit and then sidle over. Um, Cancer is not a sign that likes to confront, and Mars is all really about confrontation. And so what can happen is we can feel frustrated by that energy just in general. And then when it's squaring the nodes of the moon are evolutionary direction of our conscious collective evolution, with the North Node in Aries asking us to be our genuine, unique, or authentic selves. South Node in Virgo, Libra, renegotiating relationships, testing relationships. Is this something that I want to continue? And Libra does include the law, so there are a lot of laws being challenged by that sort of pokey energy of Aries. But as Mars, the ruler of that North Node, is in Cancer now, and will in fact be retrograde in Cancer at the beginning of next year. It moves through Cancer, goes into Leo, where it turns retrograde on December 6th, and then doesn't turn direct until, I think, February, the end of February. And then there's the shadow, there's this. It's going to be in Cancer when it turns back going direct. So this whole sort of Cancer energy is not really leaving us. But this day, this particular situation with Mars squaring the nodes, the resolution node is the North Node. And so we need to take the energy of that Mars in Cancer, which can be very sensitive in its way, very testy in its way, very emotional, a lot of emotionality with this combination, and move in the direction of our future. We are not going back, actually, to quote a very wise sage woman. On Monday, the 16th, we have Venus making an opposition to Chiron. Venus, of course, in Libra, Chiron in Aries. Oppositions are always points of awareness. And we're as far apart as we can be between Venus and Chiron. And it's that awareness that informs us how to proceed. And of course, whenever you're dealing with Chiron, we're dealing with the healing of the shadow, or the healing of the wound. In fact, this Chiron is about a degree off of the United States. Chiron, we are in the midst of a Chiron return. It'll be the United States' 5th Chiron return, which is significant, because the path of life in the shadow of the United States is actually a 5 vibration. It's all about freedom. Who's free, who's not free? What does freedom really mean? If we want to truly be free, we need to be responsible for ourselves. Stop blaming other people for our problems, really. That's kind of the bottom line on that. And so we are about to have a second hit of our exact hit of Chiron on Chiron, and then I think it's over by I think it's February or April. I can't remember right off the top of my head. Tuesday, the 17th, Mercury sesquiquadrate Pluto. You're like, what? Sesquiquadrate is a challenging aspect. It is an aspect, it's a waxing sesquiquadrate, meaning it's going from new to full. It's on that path, so it's sort of still in the building of the building phase of the cycle between Pluto and Mercury. And Mercury is communication, and Pluto is the soul. So it's the communication from the collective soul. This is a time of humility. And for those who are super duper egotistical, egomaniacal, are in for a downfall. And in fact, Mercury rules both Gemini and Virgo, so we have to watch for that. And also on that day, the full moon lunar eclipse. Yes, it's eclipse season, 26 degrees of Pisces. So We are back in eclipse season. It seems like it was just yesterday when everybody got together to watch it go across the country. But this one's a lunar eclipse. It's a partial. And it is in Pisces. This is the start of the nodes themselves are in Aries and Libra, but this full moon is close enough to the Aries node to be considered an eclipse. And whenever there's eclipses like this, lunar eclipses, if you happen to have a lunar eclipse in your chart, then it's especially sort of potent for you. And I can think of 3 people with lunar eclipses in their chart. One is Donald Trump. The second is the House guy. Oh my God, the leader of the House, the leader of the pack. The guy with the glasses and the dark hair, he looks like a Boy Scout. That one, I can't think of his name. Oh my God, it's completely leaving my mind. Johnson, right? That's his name. And Prince William. No, not Prince William. He is an eclipse baby, but he's a new moon eclipse. Catherine, Princess Catherine of Wales, gave her a whole title, so nobody gets upset with me. Okay. On the 18th, Mercury makes an opposition to Saturn. This is the halfway point of the Mercury-Saturn cycle. We will see what fruits are being harvested from the seeds planted when these 2 planets came together. That happened in the, I believe it was the late winter when that happened. Thursday, September 19th, we have a sun trine Uranus. This is the sun illuminates, Uranus is change, and this is easy change. It's easy change. Things are changing rather easily, almost miraculously, because we are evolving. And the more we can focus on our evolutionary journey, our personal evolutionary journey, and then contributing to the collective journey of unity, right? And a realization of who we truly are. This is a very powerful time. There's the sun creates a grand trine with Pluto and no, Pluto, yes, Pluto and Uranus. And then on Friday, the 20th, it opposes Neptune. So we have a giant kite in the sky with the sun and the 3 transpersonal planets. The sun is our purpose, and the 3 transpersonal planets, the ambassadors, the galaxy, the engines of our evolution, are all working on us. And this is a very powerful time to, open yourself up to your guides and the higher vibrational frequencies. First of all, you can't fight this. And there's no point in it, really. It'll just make it more difficult for you. But this is one of those evolution is going to win out kind of things. We have Venus making inconjunct to Uranus on the 20th, and then an inconjunct to Neptune on the 21st. That means Venus is at the head of a finger of God. And we'll talk about what that means. And we also have the sun opposing Neptune, the halfway point of that cycle. So there are a lot of things that are at a point of harvest. And it's kind of apt because we're sort of in the harvest season here in the Northern Hemisphere. Okay, there is an ambulance coming down the street, so it might get a little loud here. Sounds like a fire truck. Yeah, let me see if I can, hold on 1 minute. I'm just gonna close my window here. Oops, maybe I'm so loud. Okay, we have a beautiful day here today. So Venus trine Jupiter, this aspect enhances, warmth and affection and creating harmonious connections. Venus trine Jupiter expands love and abundance within the relationship. It encourages embracing the positive aspects of life, fostering gratitude and appreciation. And this vibration, this day vibrates to the 32.5, which is the path of life for the United States, the shadow of the United States, and the shadow of Kamala Harris. When you heal your shadow, it becomes the light you shine for humanity. So we are in a healing process right now. And of course, Venus, being the planet of the feminine in a trine to Jupiter, the benefic, is an expansion of the energy of the feminine, the energy of the feminine, the rising of the feminine. And then on the same day, we have Mars square the nodes. Now, this is a deep dive. Here's Mars right here. This is a chart for the US, giving us a Gemini ascendant to this chart. Here are the nodes of the moon. Now, what's interesting about this combination, and I did not put it in here, and if I have time, I'm going to do a video about it, perhaps tomorrow for you guys. This Mars as 6 is the north node of Tim Walls. And he natally has Mars square the nodes, so there's actually the north node in the sky is on his Mars, that's square his nodes, and Mars is square the nodes here. So this is a significant, what I'm just trying to say, which I know I'm confusing everybody, but this is a very significant moment for Tim Walls. All right, Mars is at 7 degrees of Cancer, two nature spirits dancing under the moonlight, visiting otherworldly realms. In contrast to nature's beautiful but stark cruelty, there is another realm that we inhabit through fanciful imagination, expanding our imagination of what is possible. I am telling you, this is such a powerful time of manifestation that if you waste your time thinking that what other people are saying is going to happen and not paying attention to what your own heart is asking you to visualize, and the life you want to visualize and the world you want to visualize, you are wasting a golden opportunity. We are in a time of instant manifestation, and that goes either way, because instant manifestation doesn't care what we manifest. We make the choice of what we manifest. And so you definitely want to focus on that, what you want to bring into your life. Now, when Mars is square the nodes, it means that we're stuck between the past and the future. We're sort of stuck in between the past and the future. And there is a resolution to this conundrum, and that resolution is the North Node in Aries. But let's take a look at the symbology of the nodes themselves. The North Node at this time is at 8 degrees of Aries. A man succeeds in expressing himself simultaneously in two realms. In contrast to our pointedness and willingness to fit in, it's our ability and capacity to hold alive the vibrant two polarities of life, each of which bring joy. So it's, I say to you, focus on the world that you want to live in. And that's part of it. And the other part is really living in the world that you're in and taking the action steps that are going to move you forward. And moving forward, the resolution node being the North Node in Aries, mean we're moving into the future. It is a vision of the future that we need to focus on, and we shall manifest it. Now, the South Node is in Libra, a blazing fire in a deserted home. However low we fall from grace, we may be reassured that there will always be someone to take care of us. Expectation of assistance from guardian angels, whether they are people or spirits. So we will get aid, but this really is about asserting our own energy. And we can see here's the square, here's the North Node. Up in the 11th house, this is the house. This is a chart for Washington, D.C. The 11th house is the house of the Congress, perhaps leadership in the Congress. And we will see how that sort of works out. Okay, let's continue. All right, on the 16th, we have Venus opposite Chiron. This is the halfway point of the Venus-Chiron synod that began on April 21st. That was actually a 33-6 day. And no. Yes, it was a 33-6 day, and now we're at the opposition, and we're in another 33-6 day. Now, the 33 is a master number on the tree of life. It's associated with Venus. And here we have Venus right here in powerfully placed in Libra, opposing Chiron. This Chiron is at 23 degrees of Leo. The United States Chiron is at 21. So we're very close to the United States Chiron. Okay, so, and in fact, this conjunction, the initial conjunction of Venus and Chiron, the healing of the feminine, was actually on the United States Chiron. So that's part of the healing that happens as we heal the feminine, we heal we heal the soul of the US. Now we have Venus at 23 degrees of Libra, a rooster's voice at sunrise, heralding the coming light. Those of us first to feel the dawning of a new consciousness have the privilege and duty to shout about it. Shine your light, folks. Shine your light. Speaking out what we know to be true. In opposition to Chiron and Aries, a pregnant woman in a light summer dress, the rich potential of every moment and situation. Assertiveness and desire together give birth to creative new possibilities. Creative assertiveness towards furtherment of potentials. See, this is all about visualizing the future, taking steps to get there, seeing Kamala Harris being inaugurated as the first female president of the United States, seeing us dealing with climate change, seeing us, what's that expression? Changing rifles into plowshares, like really having a more loving, co-creating a more loving earth. And that will come as Venus, as the feminine rises. And then we have the full moon lunar eclipse. This is the eclipse. This is for the US. We have we have the ascendant at 9 degrees of Gemini. I believe that's where the US has its Uranus. So this is the Sibley chart anyway. This is a time of awakening for us. 26 degrees of Pisces, this is where the moon is in this eclipse. Watching a very thin moon crescent appearing at sunset, different people realize that the time has come to go ahead with their different projects. Freedom of choice. Civilization demands conformity, but the soul requires freedom to choose what comes next. Exercise your free will. You have to live in this world, and you have the power to co-create a new world at the same time. This is in opposition to the sun, which is now at 26 degrees of Virgo. A boy with a censer serves the priest near the altar. Sacred duty of service. The function on the earth plane, to function on the earth plane, disincarnate spiritual beings need us to generate a certain type of energy through exact performance of ritual, studying humility as a spiritual practice. This is actually, this symbol indicates an actual, like, doing some sort of right in order to focus the energy, right? This is what the magician does, the magician in the tarot, right? This day is actually an 8 of Wands day, which always means information, like being exposed. Now, lunar eclipses, it means that in the lunar eclipse, the sun, our conscious sense of self, overshadows the moon, our emotional feeling self. This is a South Node eclipse season. We're in South Node eclipse season. What do we need to let go of? There's always that energy. So we will be letting go in this eclipse. The full moons are about releasing. They are about releasing. And we have, of course, Mars still square the nodes of this eclipse from the sign of Cancer. Mars in Cancer directs the full force of the feeling nature into the struggle to acquire and estate, I should say, and to guard that which has been obtained. So this is about, guarding what is yours. And this can be family. This can be meaningful relationships. This can be country. There's quite a bit of feeling, a sense of saving the country here. The resolution node is the North Node in Aries, applying our energy to the future. The North Node in Aries urges us to express our beingness. Our beingness. We have themes here. Excuse me, I just did something I didn't want to do. Okay, hold on. All right, let's continue. Hopefully this isn't going too long. Okay, Mercury opposite Saturn. This is part of the synod that began at the conjunction. That conjunction happened 2/28, 2024. So this is the point of awareness of the fruits planted at that conjunction. It occurred at 10 degrees of Pisces, an aviator flying through ground obscuring clouds, just like the pilot who has to land the plane but can't see where the landing pad is. You have to use your instrumentation. Your instrumentation when you're a human being is your intuition, right? You also have to be good at what you do so you can do it safely, right? So this is highest levels of achievement. Only the few manage to go beyond levels of normal excellence to master their chosen craft and skill set. Attain the highest level of responsibility that you can manage. So whatever it is that you do, you have to be the best at it at this moment, at this time. Now we have Mercury at 16 of Virgo, an orangutan. The wildness within us, it is futile and counterproductive to ignore that we all have a wild beast within, with which we must come to terms, rebalancing inner primal forces. So that kind of sounds like a certain no disrespect to orangutans. I'm thinking of a certain person opposing Saturn at 16 Pisces in the quiet of his study, a creative individual experiences a flow of inspiration, the flow of inspiration. So this is a balance between our sort of beastly nature, as it were, and our more higher, more inspired nature, and the inspiration comes from spirit. So oppositions are always about balance, right? You're balancing two ends. You also, because we're dealing with Saturn, is seeing the limitations. We're seeing the parameters that we have to work within. And it's interesting because the vibration for this day is 35-8, and this is all about boundaries. So this is going to be a day when we come to terms with the boundaries. What do we have to work with when it comes to our mind? Jupiter is actually square this opposition. So here's where's the opposition. I actually usually highlight this, but I didn't highlight this one. Here we go. So here's Saturn, here's Mercury, and here's Jupiter up here, and it's making a square. It's kind of a it's 5 degrees, so it's a loose square, but Jupiter has a lot of energy, and so it does. I mean, if it was real exact, it would be, but it's there, so there's still a stress on it. So it makes making a first quarter square to Saturn. That's part of the Saturn Jupiter cycle. Remember, it started back at 2020, and on the day of was it the first day of the DNC, we had the exact square between Jupiter and Saturn, and that's the first of 3 that we're going to have. So, and it's part of the Jupiter-Saturn synodic cycle, which lasts about 20 years. It's called a generational cycle. It's an important social cycle. This is a time of crisis in action, building the foundations for what was seeded at the conjunction back in 2020. And we also, of course, we have Jupiter squaring Mercury. This one actually is a crescent, what we call a crescent side square. So there's a lot of pressure, but not a lot of action yet. And the crisis it says the increasing pressure to escape the ghosts of the past. So there's still some folk that need to go a little bit further on that, but we will see that square later in the month anyway. Okay. All right, let's continue. On the 19th, here's the sun trine Uranus. Here's the sun. Here's Uranus. And I just want to point out that we have a grand trine here in Earth. Now, this could be seismic activity as well. And then over here, we have Neptune opposing the sun. Now, this in another 2 days, I believe, day or two, it will be making the exact opposition. But this is all happening now, and now the sun is here, and the sun is our purpose. In Virgo, the sign of service. What is our purpose as servers to the divine plan? The sun trine Uranus, flow of emancipatory energy, freedom from the known. The sun creates a grand trine with Pluto and Uranus and a kite in opposition to Neptune. Transformation of the egoic self as the transpersonal energies take over. The evolutionary force. And if you notice, the card is the 10 of Wands, the burden bearer. It is time to unburden ourselves, perhaps of our ego, if that's what's getting in the way. Perhaps our excuses, if that's what's getting in the way. All right. All right. I guess it's the next day. Sun opposing Neptune, 29 Virgo Pisces. This is the fruit of the seeds planted at the Sun-Neptune conjunction, which occurred on St. Patty's Day this year at 28 degrees of Pisces, a fertile garden under a full moon. Enough is a feast. This was the initial seed vibration. Success in mastering the earth plane is measured by our ability to win abundance without becoming a slave to greed. And we can see, even in the United States, as we're moving forth to the presidential election, we have the greed side, right? And we have the lights, let's help everybody unite side, right? We have the Republicans, we have the Democrats, and we're seeing this in stark contrast. And the choice is ours. Who are we? Who are we? Remember, we're in the middle of a Pluto return and our 5th Chiron return. So this is the time how are we going to move into this next phase? And there's new consciousness coming in, and we have to get right with ourselves, guys. We have to get right with ourselves. Now the sun is at 29 of Virgo. A seeker after occult knowledge is reading an ancient scroll which illumines his mind. Ancient knowledge as a foundation for change. These symbols that have been coming up, even last week we had a symbol of the Sphinx, right? So this is powerful, powerful stuff. We know this stuff. We've had these lives. We need to connect with these lives. We need to pay attention to the eternal secrets as we construct new realities following a radical change. Ardent application to grasp the ancient mysteries. In opposition to Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces, a prism, seeing God in everything. There are 2 directions that concern us deeply, whether we are looking for God or looking as if through God's eyes. The God hasn't gone anywhere. The God is not outside of us. The God is within. The God is within. The true God, the true power of spirit lies within us all. And when we and then this is the 2 inconjuncts that happen to Venus on the 20th. We have Venus inconjunct Uranus. Venus quincunx, another name for inconjunct. Uranus creates mixed feelings about your level of commitment in close relationships. You want the love and affection of a soulmate, Venus, but it can make you feel smothered because of your strong need for independence. So whenever Uranus and Venus get together, there's a little bit of a love-hate relationship with relationship. And relationship often will feel like it's holding us back in some way. And then on the 21st, we have Venus making in conjunct to Neptune. Now, the inconjuncts always require some sort of adjustment. And with Venus here being the personal planet, making inconjuncts to these transpersonal planets, how do we change or make adjustments in our personal values and the way we relate to others in order to line up with the evolutionary purpose? Now, Venus in conjunct Neptune, Venus conjunct Neptune gives optimism, passion, and creative talent, but also anxiety and self-doubt. Insecurities and crises are possible that often begin with the feelings of unworthiness, poor self-image, or doubts about your talents. Now, we have this Venus in the crosshairs of this yod. And so the fickle finger of fate or the finger of God is pointing at Venus. So what does it mean when Venus is at the head of a yod? Well, Venus at the business end of the finger of God with Uranus and Neptune as combined forces. So the Neptune and Uranus are combining their forces through the sextile, which is mind expanding, to direct your energies, your values in the case of Venus, your relationships in the case of Venus, to more collective values. We are not in this by ourselves. It is not for us to isolate. It is for us to communicate. It is for us to come together. And if you notice that the day that we have the inconjunct Uranus, the vibration is the King of Cups. And when we have the inconjunct to Neptune, the vibration is the Queen of Cups. And it's the King and the Queen of Cups, our feeling nature coming together to create. This is Michelangelo's creation. What are we creating? What are we manifesting? Venus is in Libra. We are manifesting relationships. And this is a potent Venus. First of all, it's conjunct Kamala Harris's Venus. Second of all, back in 1982, there was a conjunction of Pluto and Saturn. That was the last Pluto-Saturn synod before the one that we got in 2020 at 23 degrees of Capricorn. But the one before that, which is sort of the energy of like the Reagan, the moral majority, all that crap, was all like started at that time. Was at this degree, right around this degree. So this is an important degree. It's an activated degree. And of course, it's about relationships, right? It's about relationship. It's about contracts. We are renegotiating our contracts with each other, with ourselves, with other countries. You know, this is a small world. We live on a small world, and especially with climate change, it may not get smaller, but it's going to get different. And that's going to cause a lot of people to be moving around. And there's a lot that's going to be happening. And we kind of have to have a sense of what's important to us and where we're going. And we have to allow spirit to work through us, really. All right, I think that's it. Let me just make sure. I thought I actually, that went faster than I thought. Hopefully. Oh yeah, okay, very good. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you found it helpful. Eclipse season has begun. Something is going to be released, renegotiating how we relate to ourselves and others, moving in the direction of your authentic self. Try not to get frustrated by what you're seeing. And definitely, if you don't like what you're hearing, then shut it off and visualize what you want to see. Now, that doesn't include like personal stuff, like if the bank calls you and says, ma'am, you're overdrawn, you don't want to say, I'm going to ignore that because that's not in my reality. Well, that's reality. You gotta rebalance the rebalance the checkbook, and then visualize the future from there. All right, guys, have yourself a great week. Like and subscribe if you haven't, as I said. The introduction to the Kabbalah class is starting this week, this Thursday. It is closed now, but I will be doing it again in the spring. So I'm looking forward to seeing all my my new students. You will be getting some information this week in case you're watching this. And check Ona and I out on Mystic Sisters tonight on this channel, Victoria Skirbo, 7 Eastern. Until then, until I see you again, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Namaste.